Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Am I Successful Yet podcast. Today is a very exciting day because we are going international. So today's guest is in the US and she was in the military and she's been through a separation. And that is about all I know about her. But I know she fucking rocks because she is in the Level Up program with me with Erica Kramer. And we have just connected and bonded over Instagram mostly. And we just kind of like love on each other's work and posts. And so I know it's going to be an amazing conversation. So welcome. Hello, Andrea. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you for having me. And before we move on, I do prefer Andrea.
Andrea. Oh, sorry. My
It's
bad.
okay.
I
It's
should
okay.
have said that earlier. It's my
If you want to
Australian,
yeah, it's
the
okay.
Australian version of Andrea.
It happens all the time. I just like to, use it, practice like, hey, it's okay to express myself and
Yes.
let people know what I prefer. So
I love that because that's literally part of your whole platform.
yes,
I
it
love
is.
that. So we have met through a mentoring coaching program. I guess it's pretty much all the things. It's lots of cool content, lots of cool coaching calls, and now we kind of follow each other on social media doing the things. But as I said to you earlier, I don't actually know a huge amount about you. So I would love to find out more about you. Some of these
Yes.
podcast episodes feel like a first date. It's like, so what's your favorite color? So tell me about you and your platform. Also, congratulations on now being an international speaker because you are
Thank
appearing.
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Well, first, just thank you for inviting me to be here with you and your listeners. I mean, I'm usually the one hosting because I host my own podcast, Who We Become. And it's interesting to be on the other side.
Yeah.
And it's exciting though. Like, I love it. I'm like, ooh, I get to be asked the questions today.
Yeah, you can just sort of be like, okay, what do you want to know? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good.
like, what? Ask me. And yeah, so I grew up in El Paso, Texas, which is the very, very, very left corner of Texas when you look on the map.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of the Chihuahuan Desert. And I enlisted in the U.S. military straight out of high school.
Wow.
I thought, that was going to be my career. I really thought that that's where I
Okay.
was going to be for 20 years. And it is most definitely not. Because here I am. I'm 34 now.
Did you have like a military family or something like that?
My dad was in the Navy. My stepdad, who raised me with my mom, and I have grandparents who were in the military and other family members. And
So it
so that's
wasn't
how
like a
that
foreign
idea came
concept.
about.
Yeah.
No, there was no pressure, but I was all about the partying and the drinking and no discipline. And I was like, I need structure and discipline before I figure out my next step. And I was like, I know I'm not ready for college. Like, I don't think I'm going to make it if I go straight to college.
Yeah.
Yep. So I chose the discipline and structural route.
Okay. I love that. And how long did you end up in the military for? Because
8
obviously,
years.
how many?
8 years.
Yeah. Wow. So that's like what, most of your 20s?
Yes, most of my 20s.
Yeah. Okay. And did you get the career that you wanted out of that?
My dad used to make fun of me all the time because I was like, I'm going to be an aerial gunner. And he was like, what? Like, you want to shoot a gun out of a plane at people? And I was like, yeah, it sounds fun. It looks fun. Like, I want to be badass. That is not what I ended up doing. I was on the ground working with U.S. Air Force aircraft, and I was one of the people that would ensure that when the pilots are in the air and they are firing missiles, dropping bombs, or firing their gun, that everything was going to operate smoothly and everything was even loaded on the aircraft properly and safely. So I did that.
So
It was
slightly different to be
still pretty dangerous.
Yeah. Still pretty
Still
intense.
dangerous, still a lot of pressure on us because you had to remain certified in what you did. You had to do everything under a certain time limit. Like, we were timed doing
Oh,
all of
wow.
that. Yeah, a lot of safety measures in place. And my body took a beating. Like, it was rough, but I learned so much. Like, I've been able to teach my kids all about how electricity works and
Yeah.
things
Wow.
like that because of it.
Okay. And did you get so you then got the discipline that you wanted out of that? I love the sport.
I'm listen, I am a rebel. Clearly, I was a rebel before I joined the military, right? Because like I was like, oh, I don't know, I'm not following these rules here, and I realized through the military I am still very much a rebel. But I mean, I didn't really have too much disciplinary action. Like I only got in trouble twice
In 8 years. That's a good job.
Yeah, and it wasn't serious. It was like once because I didn't know I was pregnant the first time, and I was waking up late for work. My body was
Oh.
really tired, so I'm sure you've heard like women how you can be so sleepy in the beginning, and I was really sleepy. I was only 19. I didn't think I was pregnant, and
Wow.
I was. So I was waking up late for work, and my supervisor, Jefe, I called him. I was like, is everything okay? He was like, we need to talk. Why are you coming in late every single day? I was like, look, I don't know what's going on, but I set my alarm and I keep sleeping through it. And that was the first time I got in trouble. And then years later, after my second child was born, I just had a really hard time with the fitness, like getting back into it. My push-ups were great, my run time was great, but it was the sit-ups that really got me because of like my
I
hips.
mean, you'd given birth.
And exactly. I got in trouble because I didn't pass my PT test, but after that I was like, whatever. I was like almost on my way out the door, so I wasn't taking myself too seriously at that point.
You're like, okay, I've had 2 kids, like I've got bigger things to deal with. Yeah,
Yes,
than sit-up tests.
very much so.
And so how did you decide that you wanted to leave? You knew you were done.
I was not my heart wasn't in it
Okay.
because I had discovered other passions. I was also having like doing like side hustles
Okay.
while I was active duty military. I was also married. I got married at 20, right after my firstborn was born, and he was only a few weeks old. We got married. And I had also, because my second born was born at home, I found out what a childbirth doula was, a childbirth coach, and I was like, I want to do that.
Oh,
I
wow.
really saw myself guiding women through their childbirth experience and their journey and supporting them. And so I took a training. I started reading all the literature, and my first client was actually someone that I was active duty with. She was in my
Oh my
unit.
goodness.
Yep. And she was also fairly young. Like, I think she had just turned 21 right before her baby was born. And we, being military, you're away from family.
Yeah.
So all we have is each other most of the time. And I was like, hey, so I just became a doula, and I was like, if you want someone at the hospital to support you and your husband, I was like, are you open to me asking our supervisors if they're cool if like I go to the hospital with you when the time comes? And she was like, you know what, that would be really great. And so,
That's so cool.
yeah, I gave them some childbirth education beforehand, so they had an idea of what to expect. And I was there for their birth.
Wow.
That was the first birth that I attended, and I did that for 2 years from the time I was into the military and even after I transitioned out. But yeah, my heart just wasn't in the military anymore, especially because,
Okay.
like I said, my body was taking a beating. That job was brutal. A lot of heavy lifting, long hours, high tempo, working outside in the elements. I've worked in
Yeah.
freezing cold temperatures, tropical conditions. So
Yeah. That's a lot. That's a lot of things.
it was a lot.
And then
And
you've
like
got
you
2
said,
little
after you
people.
have kids, it changes. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a really weird question, but what happens to the kids when you've got kids and you're in the military? Do you just go home like similar, like a job?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
It depends
Okay.
on your family dynamics too. Like some people are single parents, and so some military bases in the US have childcare on the
Oh,
base.
cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people have family members, but for me, in my case, my husband at the time, he was a stay-at-home dad, which I'm really grateful for.
Yeah.
He put a lot of his own things on hold so that he could stay home with our boys.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay, cool. So you got 2 kids at this point. You've just trained as a doula and left the military. Now what happens? That's already a massive pivot to go from military to doula. That is huge.
Yeah. Everybody was like, first of all, when I was pregnant with my second son, everyone was like, you're going to have your kid at home? Like, why aren't you going to the hospital? And I was like, why would I? I don't want to put pants on. just to make light of it, you know? But it was the best decision I ever made because I loved being in full control of my own autonomy and not having someone telling me what to do, you know?
Mm,
And not that a hospital is not ideal for childbirth, because in some cases it really is. But
yeah.
for me, it wasn't. Yeah, so I got out of the military and I continued attending childbirths, and I was stationed away from home. Like, I was not in Texas. I was in Georgia at the time. And
And then for everyone that has no knowledge of American geography, how far
that's
away is
in the
that?
southeast.
Yeah.
That's in the southeast. So if you know where Florida is, it's right above. Georgia's right
Right.
above Florida. Yeah, the
Okay.
little southeast corner. So good thing I'm good at geography so I can
Right? You're
explain
all over
this to
this.
y'all.
Yeah.
It's helped that I've traveled a lot. So
Yeah.
yes.
So
When
you
I got out of the military, I didn't think that things were going to go the way that they did.
okay?
Husband and I at the time, we had already had, our fair share of ups and downs, but I had also been in therapy for several years.
Okay.
And it was my therapist that I continued seeing even after I separated from the military. She had told me one day when I was still active duty, she had told me that I was in a domestic violence situation, and I was in complete denial because there was not physical abuse happening.
Yeah, right.
And so I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, crazy ass lady? Like, no." Like, I loved her, but I didn't believe it.
That's really hard to hear if
It
you
was really hard to hear. I had a panic attack on my drive home,
oh,
and
wow.
I don't even know how I drove home, but I did. And when I got home, I told him what she said, not knowing any better.
And what did he say?
Obviously, he was like, "She doesn't know what she's talking about."
Yeah.
And, like, that's almost verbatim. So time went on because I was in denial. So
And
back to when
how old
I
were you
got
at
a
this point? You would have been like, what, 30s? Early
no, I
30s?
was still in my 20s.
Wow. Very early days. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I separated from the military when I was about 26.
Okay. Wow.
Yes. So, yeah. Not
Pretty
a
young
not a
still.
long time. I was still very young.
Yeah.
And when I got out of the military, I was like, well, I still wanted to make it work. I still thought, it was still possible to make everything work. And now that financial support was changing, there was a lot of dynamics changing.
Mm,
The DV situation just got worse. And I started to question, like, am I okay? Like, is this okay for me and my kids? And I kept seeing that same counselor, and I told her, I was like, I don't think this is okay anymore. Like, I think you were right. And she was like, what do you need from me? And I
wow.
was like, what do I do next? Like,
Yeah,
so there
like,
was
how
a
do I
lot
get
of,
out of this?
yeah, there was a lot of time just digesting and fully accepting it finally.
Mm,
And mind you, that this was just months after I had separated from the military.
yeah, so
So
complete
I'm thinking,
identity
yeah,
change.
like at one point I thought I'm going to be in the military for these 20 years. And then I didn't plan on starting a family, but I did start a family. And then I thought, like, I'm going to be married forever. Like, this is my person.
Yeah,
I'm all in. But you don't expect that the person you trust with everything is going to treat you so badly. And
yeah,
yeah, and I didn't have a strong sense of self in relationships. So I
yeah,
think that was a big factor.
yeah, okay. So that's a
And
huge amount of loss, and you're not even 30 yet. It's just, like, relationship breakdown, and when you're talking about the military, you're saying my separation from the military, as if it was, like, that was kinda like a breakup as well? Like,
yeah,
it's a
it does feel
very
like that. A lot of people in the USA, a lot of people who are military fear getting out because, like, for me, I joined right out of high school. For a lot of us, it's all we've known.
yeah, and
So
it's your
you're like,
formative
what do I
years of adulthood
Yeah, what do
that
you
you're
what do
in.
you do? Because this is all you've known. This is like where you learned everything. It was definitely big transition time. And once I accepted that, and I was like, this is real, and I realized this was not something I wanted to tolerate and find out, what happens next. I was like, I've got to plan. I've got to put a plan together.
Yeah.
And thank goodness it was so soon after I got out of the military because I still had access to resources. So
Yeah, okay.
I was able to set up a with another counselor, like family counseling, and he and I went to her and she was like, "This is how you would legally separate from each other." She was like, "These could be your next steps. You need to think about your children." So that was really helpful to have a third party person and someone on the outside.
Yeah. A guide.
So yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she told me the same thing that my other counselor told me when I got to speak to her alone. She was like, "You need to get out of this." She was like, "You're doing the right thing." And I was like, "Whew, okay." It was very scary. And it was hard being the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
people say like, "Oh, you're going to be the villain in somebody's story." I've been the villain in someone's story since I was 27. So at this point, like no has become a lot easier
yeah,
now that I'm
that's huge.
34. But it takes work and it takes courage to face not just the unknown, but like what you already do know.
Yeah. To accept what you already know.
Yes.
And like you would have known, in your gut before anyone told you, right? And then someone tells you, and then you're like, oh, actually, I kind of knew that, but I didn't, but I don't want to accept
Right.
that.
Yeah, it was a deep down, but I guess I don't know what it was. Like, did I need more evidence? And then once I had more solid like experience of it, like once I started seeing things for what they were, I was like, oh yeah, maybe she was
You
right.
can't unsee that. Once you start to see someone in a different light, you're like, oh, wow, that's huge. I'm like, whew. I'm like, yeah,
Yes. And I
that's
have to
heavy.
say, I don't want to forget this part. It was because of guiding other women in their childbirth journeys that I realized if I was going to say, if you're at your birth in a hospital setting or even a home birth setting,
Mm.
and this is not something that you want, or this is something that you do want, it's important to advocate for yourself. It's really important to speak up and use your voice, express yourself. You're allowed
Yeah,
to take up that space.
yeah,
Had I not gone through any of that training, had I not gone that path, I'm not sure. I really don't think the timing would have been the same.
yeah.
I realized I've got to be the example here. How
It's
am I
this,
going to tell all these women to do that, take up space and express
yeah,
themselves if I can't even do it in my own marriage,
yeah,
in
which
my
is
own
crazy, right?
life?
You're like,
Yes.
wow, I need to start taking my own advice. Like, who am I? Who am I to tell them to advocate? Yeah, I love that. That's such a huge realization. And again, you're still so young at this point. Like pre-30, like in the grand scheme of things is, you know, I
Yes, and for anybody, if you have any listeners who are like into astrology, this is what was called my Saturn return.
oh yes, I've done that. Oh yeah, I remember that
Yep.
point.
That was my Saturn return.
I think mine
From
was slightly
27 to
late.
30, I was getting divorced, getting out of the military,
Yeah, that's huge. I think
moving a moved across the country right after that with
oh
my 2
wow,
kids. Yes.
that's huge. So you've gone all right now. This is a lot. This is like okay. So we've gone through the relationship breakdown. We've now moved across the country. Are you still a doula? Like right now in this
Yes.
moment? Yep. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
in this moment?
Oh no,
No.
not in this moment, in that moment. Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. That's such a cool experience. So do you know how many births that you're at?
I had 10 clients altogether over
Okay.
a 2-year span.
Yeah. Let's I think feel like just watching that many births is gotta trigger something in your brain that's pretty life changing to watch people go through that experience.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor and it's not for everyone because, there's risks involved. This is not just like, "Oh, let me go with you to your appointment," like where you get lab work done.
No.
No, this is someone bringing in new life
Yeah.
and their own life is at risk as well. And then you have family members who are there and you're holding all the space in that room.
For all of
And
those people.
that was how I truly learned how to hold space for others was through childbirth,
Okay.
attending childbirth.
And how do you hold that space without taking it on yourself and like you getting completely drained out?
Woo!
that's the dream. I don't know. Nobody.
Well, like I said, that's where I learned it and learned
Yeah.
about
Okay.
it. I was not, yes, I will say I was good at it, but not as good as I am now.
Okay.
I definitely learned in those spaces what wasn't mine to carry. In holding space, I've talked about this on my own podcast. It's not about fixing or telling someone what to do or how to do it or giving advice.
Mm.
And we need people to give advice and have the guidance and to fix, and we need those people, but we also need people who are space holders. And holding space is sacred because it's just about being there with them
Is
while
that just
they are
listening,
going.
or like sitting
It's
in silence, or like how does that, or is it different for everyone?
There is a lot of silence and listening,
Yeah.
but you're paying attention to the energy, you're paying attention to body language,
Okay.
you're paying attention to what isn't said.
Okay. I love that. I'm just like,
Thank you.
I'm just imagining a childbirth situation and having someone there to do that. That's huge. Like that's a really big. You're like,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
mean,
You can tell by the
and there
look on your
are
face. Like it was a lot. Okay.
well, and it was a lot in the beautiful way. I
Yeah.
wouldn't do any of it differently. I'd do it all over again because of everything I learned and the amazing people that I was able to work with, the women that I was able to support and sit with and guide. Because there
Okay.
was guidance, there were questions asked, and I would remind them, these are your options. And what do you feel is best for you? What is your body telling you? What is your baby telling you?
It's just
It's
like
not for
being.
me to decide when
Yeah.
I'm guiding someone. It's not for me to
Yeah.
decide. I'm here to ask questions, to get you to realize that you're the one who's deciding.
Yeah. It's making you. Yeah. Helping you make the best decision, right? That you already want to do, but you need someone else to be like, hey, these are your options, just so you know. Wow, this is huge. Okay. So no longer a doula, but we've moved across the country with 2 children
No,
and
I was still a doula when I
just
when
still a
I
doula.
moved.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
So
gave that up.
this was in 2019. This was the summer of 2019 when I moved.
Okay. And where are you now? I feel like I know this answer to this question, but I
I'm
can't
in
remember.
Florida.
That's right. That's right. I was like, I feel like it's somewhere sunny. I don't know. That's where.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
sunny.
It's probably one of the closest places to Queensland there is in the States, I imagine. Florida. Like sunny,
No,
tropical.
oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yes, yes.
Okay. So now where are we at? So what do you think the biggest lesson or takeaway from being the doula was? Is it that holding space thing? Or do you think there's like other things that women, I guess in one of the most vulnerable positions ever they are in their life, giving birth? What do you think you took away from all that?
Definitely the holding space and how important it is that you knows you the way you know yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be childbirth. It could be, when you're going to get your car repaired. It could be when you're trying to buy something from someone, but they're pressuring you into getting the next thing, but you're like, no, but I want this.
Yeah, okay.
And you're like, no, you're taking up that space and expressing what is best for you. And this is basically, being direct,
Mhm.
affirming yourself, but we don't have to be ugly towards anyone else or, be harsh or anything, but it's okay to assert yourself. It's okay to be direct and, kind of like on our intro, hey, I prefer Andrea, not
Yeah.
Andrea. Like
Yeah. And it's like,
there
I'm not
was
being mean. I'm
yeah,
just
it's
saying.
just I'm just saying, like, no, this is what's best for me. And,
Yeah.
so
And
it's
that
not
is
just,
your coaching platform, right? That is kind of how you, well, coach, guide. I don't know what to call anyone anymore. I feel like it's just one of those things where
yes.
it's just like, I just help people do cool shit. Like that's pretty
Yeah.
much, yeah. Yeah. So so how did you get into what you're doing now? So around, because I know it's very much around using your voice and being assertive and having
And
the, the,
yeah, being
is it
yourself.
confidence or like
Yeah,
almost
confidence is
like
absolutely tied
self-respect
in there.
to get in to just say no, or I want this.
Yeah. So 2019, when I was all that time, like when I was like, okay, I'm moving, like I'm separating, I'm gonna move back home across the country and everything. That's when I was following Erica, the Queen of Confidence, Erica Kramer,
Yes.
and I signed up for her first coaching program at the time. 19. It was online. And I was like, you know what? I got to do this because I just feel like so horrible, about myself, about my life. Like, I want to be able to pick myself up and be able to move forward and still be able to express myself and take up space. That really supported me. And so that coaching program really helped. And I didn't think I wanted to be a coach or guide other people like through life or anything like that. I thought, oh, I'm still just going to be a doula at the time.
Mm.
And then 2020 came around. That happened. Things started to get better towards like 2021. And in 2021, my family had a life-saving crisis. And at that point, I was like, I'm so glad that I ended my marriage and moved back home because I ended up basically stepping up to guide my elders in my family. They were
Wow.
beside themselves. It was really scary for everyone. It was definitely a situation that none of us had ever been in.
Okay.
And I was like, whoa, like this was all for a reason I didn't realize. And if you're listening to this, let this be a reminder that like maybe you're going through some hard shit right now and you're like, why is this happening to me?
Yeah.
But know that maybe down the road, you're probably going to find out.
Mm. Yeah, that's
You may
so
not know it now, but
I
later
just got
on, you're like,
goosebumps, like, listening to that because it's so true. I think every
it is.
single guest I've had, the conversation has been, do you think that where you are now, everything that you've done prior to this moment has led you to here? And it's like, yep, 100%.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter what they are. Like, I've gone from, like, artists to coaches to lawyers to, like, to you, like now today, and you're saying pretty much exactly the same thing. Like I had to do that, had to go through my insane Saturn return. I will put a link down to what a Saturn return is, everybody, in the comments. So if you are either, apparently it happens in your 30s, like late 20s, early 30s, and 60 every 30 years. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
Sorry.
makes
So there's
sense.
another one coming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I'll have way more wisdom by then. Bring
Yeah,
it.
that's right. I'd be totally fine to look after it by then. I remember my old boss telling me about a Saturn return, and he was like, maybe this is what's wrong. And I was like, fuck, that's crazy. I remember like looking it up and I was like, it's like questioning your relationships, questioning what you do with your life, questioning your experiences, questioning your family. Like oh my gosh. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what
well,
happened to you. Everything
and
changed.
for me, I'm also another astrology term. I'm an eighth houser. So basically that means that you're more prone to like rebirth type of experiences, like
Mm.
think death and transformation. So like, oh my gosh, I got to start all over. Oh my gosh, it's identity crisis. Oh my gosh, I'm starting from scratch. Like, I mean, I lost everything. Like I didn't have a job. I gave my house back to the bank. Like I could have sold it on the market, but I was not able to pay my mortgage anymore. So I was like, here you go, bank. You can have my house back. And, like it very much was a rebirth because it was like the old me and the old life died and everything started over.
And that's like, that would be terrifying for some people listening, being like, what do you mean? I don't want to start over. But
Right.
we're
And
still
like,
here. I think this is the message. Like it's
yeah. And then
7
in
years past
2021,
2019
yeah.
when you did that huge pivot. Okay, sorry. So 2021,
No, it's okay.
we're gonna.
Yeah, 2021, that crisis happened in our family. Again, it was like, no, I was very much like, there's a reason all of this is happening. And my family was like, how the
Yeah,
fuck are you so collected right now? I was like, we can get through this.
it's gonna be fine, guys. Don't worry. I've got this. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of guidance there for them. And I was just, till this day, like, I'm always grateful that I went through it because, like, I was home with everyone to be there and support them.
Yeah. Which that's a really big, I don't want to say burden, but that's also a really big thing to hold as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot to hold. But I was, like I said, like, bigger picture, I would not have had it any other way.
Okay. So we've got these huge life experiences happening. And then post 2021, did life calm down a bit or not really?
A little bit. I was
You're like,
also,
kind of.
yeah, it was all at the same time. I was at this different job because, like, in 2020, I started a job I know we're like hopping all over the place.
That's
So
all right.
I had started a job as a housekeeper because I was like, shoot, I stopped childbirth coaching and I was like, okay, I've got to get a more consistent, I wanted and needed more consistent income.
Mhm.
And
It's a common need.
right. So I
Yeah.
became a housekeeper, which I actually loved.
Really?
Loved being a housekeeper. So fun, very interesting. I felt like I learned so much about people just from being in their homes.
Yes.
You do. You're like, okay, this person really loves this type of thing. Like, oh my gosh, look at their decor. And then it's like, okay, I like this organization style. Other people, not so much.
Yeah.
Everyone's different. It was just very interesting for me. I loved just taking it all in. And then, yeah. And then from there, I was like, something better will come along. And because of my resume, my military background, I got recruited into this federal contracting job.
Cool.
And so I helped federal agencies. So I was at this job where I loved what I was doing. I was really great at it. I did not love the setting or like the environment,
Okay.
the workplace culture. So
Mm.
that was rough, especially after like that family crisis, because there was a little bit of like me being singled out and bullied. And
That's not
it
nice.
just like molded me even further. Like I was like, okay, this is more to learn
Okay,
about
more
myself,
learning. Great.
more and more learning. And that was between 2020 and 2023.
Okay. And when you like, obviously you can look back now because it was a few years back and go, yeah, you're more learning. But I remember when I was in a toxic culture and I would like wake up in the morning and just cry because I was like, I have to go there again. It took me 2 hours to get from the bottom of the building to the top of the building, and my hands were shaking when I put the code in. And then I would go home
Mhm.
and drink wine and cry some more. I mean, there's something to be said about what you're actually feeling in the thick of it. Like, how do you think you actually got through that period? And do you think you could have maybe
I was definitely not myself a lot of the
Yeah.
time, believe it or not. I really gave into a lot of that toxic culture and behavior. There was a lot of gossip. And then, like, at first, I really tried to, like, keep my chin up high, and just, like, ignore it and just, like, stay strong. And then it got to the point where I would just, like, push back. Like, I was like, okay, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then, so I started, like, with the
Yeah.
back and forth, and it was just really unhealthy. And in my last year there, I had found out that I was pregnant, and they were like, hey, we're losing part of our budget. So a lot of y'all are going to be let go. And I was like, yes, like, let me be one of the ones. And I was like, they
Yeah.
let me go. So yeah. So I had my second home birth, my third baby, who, yeah, she was born right around the time that they were beginning to like let people go and everything. So I was on like maternity leave and everything. And then when it was time for me to go back, they were like, hey, so as you know, there's been budget cuts. And I was like, rip off the Band-Aid. Go
You're
ahead.
like, "Please just make me redundant."
Yes. And they did. So I was like, okay, woo, like we're good. Yeah. It was a great experience because like I learned a lot about, workplace culture. That was only my second job.
Yeah,
I
I
don't really
mean
count childbirth, but like the childbirth coaching, but that was really only my second job of like being in a workplace setting
yeah,
after the military. And the housekeeping was like, you're cleaning houses, like you're not in an office setting. Like
yeah,
I could pop in, my headphones and listen to audiobooks or music while I was cleaning.
yeah,
Very different from being in an office, talking to people all day, or, typing up my reports and things that I was doing, working with different personalities.
yeah, which is sorry, I'm just grabbing a little bit of video, though, don't mind me, that's just why I looked down at my phone, that was not being rude.
No worries.
So, okay, so 3rd baby, 2023.
Yeah, she was born in 2022 at the end of
Okay,
the year,
okay,
but
and then made
2023, like
redundant.
after the new year, yeah, they were like, all right, we're done here. And I was like, all right, it was great
Alright, let's
knowing
do it,
y'all.
alrighty, yeah,
Yeah, I was like, thank you. I mean, I was so grateful because I had learned so much from that job. Like, everything from the actual job itself to the people.
yeah, okay, cool, and then from then, you've been looking after your kids, right?
Yeah, ever since my boyfriend, he got a job offer out here in Florida, and he was like, "Do you want to move up to Florida?" And I was like, "No." I really resisted it, but then I was like, "Well, I also want us to be together." So And I was like, well, shit, I don't have a job like keeping me here. Like, what am I going to say?
You're like, oh, I can't yeah.
I really could have stayed if that's what I wanted to do, but I didn't have a job holding me, hostage or anything, quote
Yeah.
unquote. Technically, I guess I could have transferred. I could have asked them like, hey, do you guys have anything in Florida? But I was
didn't
over
want to.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I was like, you know what? I'll move with you and like I'll be a stay-at-home mom. And he was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And so I've been at home since. Very interesting.
Total
Because
other
I've never been
challenges,
a
right?
stay-at-home parent before. Yeah, very
Yeah.
different. Good thing I was a housekeeper already because I'm like, okay, I know how to keep the house
Okay.
clean.
I can do this. Yeah.
I already, like, I mean, I know how to cook and everything. Like, I know life skill, right? People, like,
Yeah. I can do life skills. Yeah, but doing life skills
it's
as
very
an adult
different from getting up, and
and then
going to
having
work
3
every
children.
day.
That's huge.
Mhm.
And
And
how
my
old are the
older
little people?
kids, like my two from my marriage, like they were already they've already been in school already
Yeah,
at
okay.
this point. So, that's not a big deal. They're very independent, like do their own laundry. They can even cook dinner, breakfast if they need to. They keep their own room and restroom clean, so they help out in the kitchen, cleaning, they
That's
do their
good.
own laundry. So yeah, it's very helpful. But my 3-year-old is, the youngest,
3-year-old. Yeah.
not quite as independent. We've got an age gap there. I started over, so that's been interesting. And it was through like that coaching that I talked about earlier, like being coached by someone and then seeing what it was like for me to have a transformation and be supported by somebody else. I was like, I could really see myself doing that. And that never went away, even through having those other jobs, even as I've been a stay-at-home parent all this time. Like that nudge has never left me.
Do you think that started with the doula thing? And then
Yes. Yeah, because it's a form
and
of
then it's
coaching.
like growing or what's the word? Evolved since then.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, because it's like, I was like, I still want to do that, but I don't want to be on call 24/7.
Well, that's the problem with babies, right? Is that they're not
They
really on
don't care about
schedule.
your calendar, your
Yeah.
schedule. They don't know about that.
So good. So you have gone so you're in coaching, and so we both do coaching with Erica Kramer, everybody. She's amazing. And
She's the best.
she's the best. Total fangirl. I remember for the first time I saw her speak and I was like, she's gonna be my best friend. She doesn't know yet, but we're gonna be best friends.
Yes.
So what is your style that you've developed? Because I think we just started talking earlier about, well, before we maybe started recording, around you studying
Mhm.
human design, which I think is so interesting.
Yes.
Tell us about human design. I'm so excited. I want to know what I am.
Yeah. Yes. So we are in 2026 now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so 2024, I'm going to be quick about this. In
Which is fine.
2024, I lost a couple of family members back to back.
Oh,
And
God,
that
God.
was
I'm sorry to hear
another,
that.
like, yeah, thank you. That was also a lot. Learned a lot. I feel like I had already known grief in many different ways, but this
Yeah.
was my first time meeting grief from losing people very near and dear, very close to me. And it was right after that happened that a good friend introduced me to human design. I saw that she said something about it and I was like, what is that? And she was like, oh, it's kind of like when people get their astrology charts, but you have a human design chart. And I was like, okay, well, what does that mean?
You're like, more
And
information, please. Yeah.
yeah, so she pulled my chart and she was like, oh, you're a 2/4 ego projector. She was like, oh my gosh, you're so rare in the world. And I was like, I don't know what any of that means.
You're like,
And
thanks.
yeah, I was like, okay, cool. And she broke some of it down, but I still did not have a full grasp on it. And fast forward to like, I was just like, okay, cool. Like, I'm a projector. I've met other people that have said, like, oh, yeah, I'm a projector too. But I felt like, oh, like, what does that even mean? Like, I don't know. I read a couple things on the internet and I was like, I don't know. This is not really, it was not so thorough. And I didn't feel like it was information that helped me really understand like what is a projector here for.
Yeah. Okay. It's like,
And
thanks. I know what that is, but
yeah, I'm like, but what does that mean for me?
yeah.
Because there's different types of charts, like in human
Mm,
design. There's different types. And so my type is a projector. And this past March, I came across my mentor in human design. His name's Brayton Balazzo, and he is a projector himself. And he is the person who has pioneered projector education because in human design, there is a lot of education for overall human design,
mm,
not so much for projectors specifically.
okay.
And projectors, we are actually here to guide others. Like that is
I love that.
yeah. So I was like, wow, it makes so much sense that I love guiding other people. So many people come to me for,
Yeah.
guidance, advice,
Yeah. Okay.
soundboarding. And yeah, so I studied with him for the past 2 months, and the amount of knowledge that I've absorbed and grasped
Yeah.
on a deep, deep level, I'm like, this is really useful and helpful for me to guide people. And so now what I'm offering is one-on-one guidance sessions. And it doesn't have to be centered around human design. If you're curious about your human design, yes, we can incorporate that. But what I love is for someone to come to me, and it's basically an invitation. When they book on my calendar, that is them inviting me to guide them.
Mm,
And for projectors, that's very important to have the invitation. And
okay.
yeah, so when I guide someone, it's very much holding that space, like we talked about
Yeah. But that
earlier,
brings
which,
that in. Yep.
yes. So I call it space to speak. I hold space as you speak, you're expressing yourself, and I'm listening. So the way that my human design is, my specific design is I was made to basically be a human recorder. I listen to so many things, not just the words you're telling me, but I listen to what you're not saying. I'm paying attention to your body language, and I ask you questions so that you can decide what to do next. I'm not going to tell you what to decide. That's for you to decide. Thank you.
So when you're deciding, so when you like get your chart, what are the things that help someone figure out where they are on the chart? Is it like an astrological type vibe?
Yeah, if you do want your chart pulled, then I can tell you about it's called your inner authority.
Okay.
Everyone has their own unique authority, and that's
Okay.
how you have your own decision-making process.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's several kinds of authority. Like mine is ego, so for me it's my heart.
Mhm.
And if my heart does not want to, if I don't have the will or desire, it ain't happening,
Yeah,
which
okay.
can be very challenging. But there's other kinds. There's people who got to listen to their gut, that intuition.
Mhm.
What is your body telling you? There's people who are recommended to listen to their spleen.
The
For some
spleen.
people, yeah, for some people it's emotional authority.
Okay.
And yeah, for other people, it is their throat, and some people, it's their mind.
Okay.
Hmm.
Interesting. So there's an inner authority and then you kind of can map and then you become or you are. Can you change your human design or no?
No,
No.
you're.
That's it. It's like
It's like astrology. Like you put
yeah.
in your birth time, and like that's who you are. That's
Yeah,
who you
okay,
were
cool.
born to
It's not
be.
like it's not like it's like a personality type, like you can't change your personality, but can you
Yeah, there's personality aspects in there.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Can you mirror or project somebody else's design or it's not really?
No, not really. Like, well, for projectors, it's funny you're saying that. There's projectors, and we do project, like people will project onto us because
Y-
we absorb like what
Yeah.
other people are. And then there's reflectors, and those are more of like a mirror type.
Right. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
My
But not
God.
everybody can do that. Like if you're a generator, you're not going to do that. You're more about like creating and responding, you know,
Okay.
taking action.
Okay.
Yes.
I really want to know what I am. We're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to
Yeah, we'll
book
have to
that.
do it
We
later.
have to book that calendar invite in.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay. So that is a lot of pivots. That is a lot of things and a lot of loss, a lot of like grief, as you said, in different kind of ways. What do you
Yeah, I've
think?
even lost myself along the way. Like
Yes.
it's a lot. The last 7 years have definitely been a ride, and it's another thing where I really I really do believe I'm here to also guide people once they're at a certain point in their grief, like, if that's something that
Mm,
you need guidance with, like, how do I move on from this or how do I process this? I'd love to support in that as well. Obviously, sometimes you need professional,
yeah,
support, like a therapist, a counselor, or certain services, but I do know what it's like to have significant loss
yeah. In as you said, in many ways, like yourself,
in many
loved
ways,
ones,
relationships, loved
relationships.
ones,
Yeah.
friendships, careers, yeah.
And it's yeah, and this is the whole point of having this podcast, right? The idea is that like we pivot through all of these things. Like you think life goes in one beautiful linear direction.
Wouldn't
Ha!
that be great?
Yeah, when you ha! It just doesn't. But you're still here to tell the story. I think that's the message. Is it's like, yeah, but I can tell you and you're here and you don't seem completely unhinged. So it hasn't like
Thank you.
I mean, I might do someday.
Yeah, we all have our moments.
But you're here, you can tell the story and you'll still wanna show up and help people, and still wanna show up and support people to get through that journey.
Yeah, and I'm glad I learned through human design that I'm a projector because we are literally here to be of service to others. So I was like, oh, it's just so fitting. Like that helps me,
You're like, "That makes sense?"
be even more sure of myself in this. Like
Yes.
it's just a matter of, in my downtime, my studying and, always sharpening myself. And I'm always learning. I'll learn till the day that I die because I don't believe that any of us are going to ever know anything and everything.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to be here and how it's all unfolded. And I can only imagine what the rest will look
Yeah,
like.
what the next 7 years is gonna look like.
Yes.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing your story. How does it feel being
Thank
on
you
the
for
other
having
side?
me.
Is it nice to be asked questions? Is it weird?
It's both. It's
Yeah.
fun, it's nice, and it's also like, oh, damn, now I'm on the spot.
Yeah. You're like yeah.
But it's
Um,
great because it's another experience of I haven't been a guest on a podcast in years. The first time was on the Confidence Chronicles.
yes,
So,
I love this. Yeah.
that was in 2019. So now I'm like, okay, you refreshed my memory on what it's like
But that's a
to,
totally but 2019 was the beginning of all of that stuff that we just talked
yes,
about. And now, this is a perfect time to have you as a guest then, because 'cause you're like, "I'm actually here, guys, and I did it." And I'm
yes.
studying with a 3-year-old as a stay-at-home mom, and I thought I was still gonna be in the military and in a
Yeah.
completely different
My oldest is 14, my middle is 11.
yeah,
It's hard to believe, like, I'm 34, but I've been a mom for 14 years, and I've got
yeah.
friends that are, like, just about to have their baby, and I'm like, "You
You're
need
like, "My kids
guidance, I
could
got you."
babysit." But it's funny, isn't it, in friendship groups like that, how it goes like that? Like we're the year of 40s this year in our group, and one of the girls has just had a baby, and I'm gonna be like doing a Euro summer for my 40th. And
I
it's
love
just
that.
like, who are we? Like it's just like these totally different versions. And then yeah, some people have got teenagers, some people have got, yeah, like school
Yeah.
age, like it's
And that's
insane.
okay, we're not all supposed to do it the same.
Exactly.
It's
Exactly.
so beautiful that we're all different from each other.
And then I think you just genuinely connect with people that you just can vibe with, you know? That's why we're
Yeah,
following each other.
I love hearing other people's stories. I mean, that's why I started my podcast. I was like, "You know what?
This is fun.
We gotta get more stories." It's fun. I have more fun with guests than I do solo on my solo episodes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
So if someone wants to come and get their chart read, how do we find you?
yes, if you want your chart read or just life guidance in general, you don't care about the human design aspect, that's okay. I have a link on my Instagram profile
Mhm.
where you can book me.
Okay. And I will put Andrea's Instagram profile in the show notes, everybody, so you can find her. I'm gonna get my chart read. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be so fun. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. I am going
Thank
to
you for
stop
having me.
no problem. I'm gonna stop the recording, but please don't leave because it takes a moment to do the thing. Thank you. There we go. Stop. Stopping. Yay! Thank you. Are you good? Is that okay?